Hi there and welcome to our next video on biofuels and non-renewables. In this video we're going to be looking at fossil fuels, some uses of these fossil fuels, nuclear fuels and biomass, energy and biofuels. So let's start off with fossil fuels. So these are ancient plants and animals which have been buried, and we find fossil fuels buried in rocks. So whenever sometimes we find rocks, we find fossils on them. Humans release their energy from the fossil fuels by a process called combustion, which we will have a look at in a later video. It takes fossil fuels millions of years to form. So for example, when the dinosaurs got wiped out, we found their fossils after a really long time. They have been they have been used in museums, but they have taken millions of years to form. And over here we have some release of fossil fuels. Over here you can see the carbon dioxide emissions from these factories. So some uses of fossil fuels is that they can be used for transport, electricity generation and heating, and they have some advantages and disadvantages. Advantages are that they are reliable, they are cheap, they are easy to store, and they have a high energy density. But some disadvantages is that they're non-renewable. This means that if we run out of them, then they're gone forever, and they contribute to climate change. As you can see in this image, there's a lot of gas being released into the atmosphere. Moving on to nuclear fuels, these are non-renewable as well, and they are normally uranium or plutonium. These are fuels normally used in nuclear power stations. So these two fuels over here, they're mainly used in power stations that generate nuclear fuels. And some advantages are there are no carbon dioxide emissions during use, very high energy density, and there are large reserves. But some disadvantages is that disaster could have severe significant environmental impact. There's a security risk, radioactive waste, and high decommissioning cost. So there are quite a few disadvantages for nuclear fuels, but the main advantage over here is that there are large reserves and there's no carbon dioxide emissions um, during the use. However, when we look at this image over here, we can see that there are other gases being released into the atmosphere. If you go back, we have these fuels, uranium and plutonium, and there's a lot of radioactive waste being released. And if some disaster actually happens, it can have significant impact on the environment. You can see here, just this contributes to climate change. It contributes to the gases in the atmosphere. Now moving on to biomass energy or biofuels. This is energy which comes from plants. The chemical potential energy is stored in things that were once alive and can be turned into heat energy by burning them. So things that were alive before, they have chemical potential energy in them, and we burn those to get heat energy. So trees absorbs the sun's energy. The trees change this energy into chemical energy and they store it inside themselves. We cut down the trees, we burn the wood, we turn this energy into heat, which is useful for cooking and heating. And again, some advantages are that they're renewable as long as we keep planting trees to replace the ones we cut down, and we don't need any special equipment, so it can be used very easily even in poor countries because nearly every place in the world has many trees. However, some disadvantages include that there are large areas of land and are needed to grow enough trees, and it adds to the greenhouse effect, which we will be looking at in chemistry, which is chemistry of the atmosphere. And looking at these images of biofuels, we have these millions of trees cut down. All the chemical potential energy are stored in these trees because they get all this energy from this source over here, the sun, and they store it within them, and then this energy is then burnt to be used by heating and many other things. We use it everywhere. This is why biomass energy is very important. In the description box below, there's a link to a quiz which you can have a go at. In our next video, we're going to be having a look at some exam questions relating to this topic. But for now, that is it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. And one last thing, please subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell.